Hi guys. So I just wanted to say a couple of things really quick. Um, I was trying this morning to respond to a comment from a couple of weeks ago from a very valued subscriber called Red. Um, and I saw the comment was gone, and I know she's an INFP. I know she's very sweet. She's commented before, and I felt bad during this time that I hadn't replied yet. I have another one from an INFJ to respond to as well. But honestly, like, please understand. Like, first of all, as I've said, like, I've literally been paralyzed. Like, it's no joke. I couldn't move and I couldn't walk uh, for a while. But I've been getting better and better every day. I'm expected to make a full recovery. But my hands, which were the first thing that this happened to, are now the last to recover. My fingers and my toes. And like, I mean, honestly, like, it's been really hard, and like, I haven't even been able to type. Like, I still can't really type. I usually type like 90 words a minute, and I'm just, you know, barely writing anything. And like, so I've been away from being able to type at all. But in general, like, I read your comments right away. I'm excited about it. And being an INFP, sometimes I'll take a long time to process. I'll put it in my mind and think about it and ruminate about it, because I want to write something thoughtful and heartfelt. Um, but I realize maybe that's rude or hurtful on some level. Like, I know that, like, I've commented uh, on an INFP's channel before. Um, I didn't know her, but I think she took months to get back to me. And at first I was like, I was a little hurt. If an INFP, like, we check ourselves, we feel foolish if we don't get communication or appreciation or feedback. I let it go, and then after I'd forgotten about it, I got this response. So, like, I'm so sorry. Like, she was so great. She was my favorite. Sorry. And like, it makes me so sad whenever there's like a misunderstanding like this and someone leaves or is offended by me or my behavior. But like, please understand, like, I care so much about everyone and every little thing, and like, I don't ever mean to ignore anything. Like, there's times I see I've forgotten about uh, comments for a really long time, and that's really not a good way to appreciate people who bother to watch these. So I'm so sorry. If anybody knows who that is, please help me to contact her and tell her. But like I think like I'm considering, my feedback from ENFPs and other experiences about INFP, emotional reactivity, and like maybe that's a fair criticism. I think we try so hard and we're so vulnerable. It is really easy to hurt us, even unintentionally. Um, and it's unfortunate. I think it's something for us to work on. Um, like maybe even like being kind of blindly arrogant at times. Like I really try not to, but I think like I say like a lot of like seemingly arrogant things. And I say all this praise for INFPs, and I don't know. Let me think about it some more. Um, but like I'll tell you like a quick story. Like I know like talking to people online is like kind of I don't want to say stigmatized anymore, but I'm still like kind of embarrassed by it. But like I do like try to find people to date through apps and stuff. And like earlier this year, like I found this younger INFP, and like it seems like maybe we were very well suited for each other. Okay, my dog Sylvia is coming to join. Um, but like we started talking, and I was telling him about my work in neuroscience and my dreams to understand consciousness theoretically, and the progress I've made. And like I get that it's so unbelievable, but I've really worked on this very hard, and I really do believe I have the basic components of a rigorous theory of consciousness, and everything was great. And I told him about this, and he got really offended. And some people, most people are like really odd and inspired, and they get what I'm saying, and they see the beauty and the purity of it. But like some people, like it's weird to me, like they have this very strong notion or belief about consciousness that like I don't know like really where it comes from. They think that it's too complex or chaotic or abstract to solve or something. And it's like I'm a very rigorous scientist. I don't really see things in those terms, because consciousness is so omnipresent and it's so well linked to neural activity, and that I think it's so obviously it's able to be studied and elucidated. But yeah, so he got really offended, and he kept insisting this, and I kept saying, well, you don't know, you haven't even listened to the evidence or the theory, you haven't even considered it, you're just making assumptions before examining the evidence, which that's the first rule of science, the scientific method. There's no such thing as a belief. If there's evidence, you need to objectively examine it and decide on its merit in a rigorous way based upon the available data, and like that's where science has integrity as compared to religion as an institution. And I think that's where, real human integrity springs from. But, still, I see scientists doing this all the time. And it's been very problematic in my career. I'm battling it now. And I know that in my younger days, probably now still for things that I haven't researched properly, I could be guilty of this too. You're taught some canonical or some conditioned version of things, and you have reactivity or a reaction to something, like an emotional reaction, and from that internal introverted feeling perspective, that just feels like you just follow that motivation. And I think it's really the job of our integrity as human beings to not have that emotional reactivity, to not dismiss something before examining it, to have an open mind. This is obviously such a source of this anti-science rhetoric and so many other political problems. But ignorance is everywhere. But when this guy was saying all this, and like, I don't know if I said, but other people have reacted this way. I have a really extreme example of an ENFP who just like, I like went on one date with him and told him about it, and like for months he would just like send me all these like long hateful messages about it, and it's just so crazy to me. But like what this INFP guy said, it hurt my feelings, and I think his feelings were hurt too. And we kind of parted for a while, and like he did like message me again later and like asked me if I wanted to like see him one weekend, and like I told him like I already had another date, and I it was like I wasn't feeling well. It was like my time of the month and stuff, and like he was just like, yeesh. It's like too much information, but just being honest. And I've messaged him several times since then, and he just like doesn't respond. I guess he's done with me. So I mean, like, I don't know, like maybe that is an INFP thing. That sort of reactivity, or like being too sensitive or too easily hurt. I'll have to think about that some more too. Maybe it's a human thing. But I guess I kind of on some level attribute it to being an INFP. But like I've always valued my open-mindedness to the world. Like I've always seen that as one of my most valuable assets. And even in the heat of like very extreme social and religious conditioning, being open to new perspectives and new information and just taking it in and considering it without dismissing it before I see it. But um, at the same time, there are times I know, like I criticize people all the time for that, but there are times that I know I've done that too. Um, like one example I can talk about in more detail later is parapsychological data. Like when I went into science, I was so through with all of this, like all this, like the hocus pocus part of religion and the pseudoscientific part, and I had been so thoroughly conditioned by science that parapsychological data is invalid, that when my mom actually like started citing it, I remember being reactive to it and just thinking it was like another one of her like silly things. But I did agree to examine the data, and I did, and I saw the scientific rigor in it, and it was humbling and enlightening, and I saw that the same sort of conditioning that had gone on in religion was going on in science as well. Like I had trusted mainstream science to check themselves, and that's like the whole thing. Especially with being an INFP and being so reliant on data points, is to never take someone's word for anything, never just believe anything. Do the research, dig deep, look at the available data, and consider it objectively. Um, but please, just everyone in general, like do your best and try to communicate uh, with someone who you think has done something hurtful. Because maybe they love you and they didn't mean it. Maybe there was something else going on. You really don't know. Um, because like I know, like I will end relationships. I will do the door slam, but it's not ever before the due diligence of reaching out and asking for communication, and asking to heal and address things. And if that at that point, things are so toxic that they can't be repaired and it's causing much more harm than good, and the person is unwilling to engage in discussion and is misinterpreting everything that I'm doing or feeling and accusing me and saying I'm something that I'm not, like at that point, I think that's the right point to fight it or put an end to it or do whatever is necessary. Um, so a lot to think about, and thank everyone so much for watching and contributing. And I know it's like there's not much, but I'm working on it. All right, bye.